Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namastitya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, and to Narayan Rishi, supermost human being, and to Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto the author, Srila Vyasadeva. Today we are reading from the third canto, the status quo, entitled the status quo, and we are reading from chapter 5, entitled Vidura Talks with Maitreya, and we are on text 17, and I don't have glasses, so I'm going to step out a moment. That's better. We'll look at a Sanskrit word. Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Krista Shatra Kaushara Pumsa Muni, sorry. Pumsam Nishreyasa Artena Tam Aha Bahu Manayam Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Evam Bhagavan Krishna Shatra Kosha Ravo Muni Pumsam Nishreya Sartena Tam Ahava Umanayam Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Bhagavan Krishna Shatra Kosha Ravo Muni Pumsam Nishreya Sartena Tam Ahava Umanayam Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Bhagavan Krishna Shatra Kosha Ravo Muni Pumsam Nishreya Sartena Tam Ahava Umanayam Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Bhagavan Krishna Shatra Kosha Ravo Muni Om Sakrishna Navena Tam Aha Baumanaya Shri Shukavacha Saivam Bhagavan Tishta Shatra Kosharavo Muni Sam Nishaya Samtena Tam Aha Baumanayam Shri Shukavacha Saivam Bhagavan Krishna Shakrako Saravo Muni Sam Nishreya Shavdena Tam Aha Baumanayam. Someone online would like to chant? Yeah, so we can go to the word for word translation. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Sa, he, Evam, thus, Bhagavan, the great sage, Krishna, being requested, Kshatra, by Vidura, Kosharava, Maitreya, Muni, the great sage, Pumsam, for all people, Nishriyasa, for the great welfare, Artena, for that, Tam, unto him, Aha, narrated, Bahu, greatly, Manayan, honoring. Translation. Shukadev Goswami said, the great sage Maitreya Muni, after honoring Vidura very greatly, began to speak at Vidura's request for the greatest welfare of all people. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The great sage Maitreya Muni is described here as Bhagavan because he surpassed all ordinary human beings in learning and experience. Thus, his selection of the greatest welfare service for the world is considered authoritative. The all-inclusive welfare service for the entire human society is devotional service to the Lord, and as requested by Vidura, the sage describes same very appropriately. Om Jnana Timeram Dasya Jnana Jala Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Patel Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhya cha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pastyacha Dejatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mokam Koti Vanchalam Pangum Longayate Girim Yatkita Tamam Bande Shigo De Jatarinam. Sukadeva Goswami said, the great sage Maitreya Muni, after honoring Vidura very greatly, began to speak at Vidura's request for the greatest welfare of all people. Hare Krishna. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is narrated by Sri Sukadeva Goswami, and sometimes we lose touch with that because we can go verses and even sometimes chapter without hearing about Sukadeva Goswami. And he's a narrator, so regularly come back, okay. Like it's narrated, we hear his narration. And here his narration is saying, like, is looking at the scene that he was describing between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi. And Vidura had posed in a previous chapter, is entitled Vidura Talk with Maitreya. So Vidura was asking question to Maitreya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it said that, like, we are meant to ask question. We all ask question. However, we want to look at the quality of our question. Even the tree asks question. The tree asks question, where is light? Where is water? They are constantly, like, I go to the wood quite a lot, and I've been impacted by looking at the competition in the wood to get to the light. And sometimes trees climb over other tree like that. They are doing all kind of things. There is a tree once I saw, like, there was darkness from the wood, and I saw the tree sent a branch so far away, so far away, very, very far away from the trunk. And I was wondering, I said, wow, it's strange. And then I looked like, oh, because there is an opening there. And there was an opening that was easier than going straight up. So they always ask question, where is light? Where is water? The animals, they also ask question. They ask question like, where is food? Where is a place to sleep? Where is safety? Where is safety? We always ask safety. Where is the mat? Where is the mat? So those questions, they are natural. They are natural for the embodied soul, and they exist in all species of life. They exist in species of life that are immovable, like the trees and the grass, and they exist in a movable living entities, life in movable forms like animals, and animals include human beings. Yeah, we are two-legged animals. However, as long as we constantly only ask those questions as a two-legged animals, we are not really fulfilling the boon of human life. Human life is very, very special, is very, very rare. It's very, very rare to attain the human life. Even by our calculation, we can know that it's very rare. On this little piece of land, there is 4 human beings only, and there is unlimited amount of ants, unlimited amount of grass. There is more than 4 trees, and what to speak about the bushes on just a little piece of land. So we can see from that, we can come to the conclusion, wow, human birth is very, very rare. It's very rare and it's very unique because only in the human birth can we ask different types of questions that are not pertaining to eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. We can ask questions about who am I? What's the goal of human life? What's nature? What's time? What occupation I'm supposed to perform? Yes, all those questions that only human beings do ask. And here I really noticed something that's beautiful in that verse, which is after honoring Vidura very greatly, and we can say, why will he honor Vidura? He's a speaker. Why will he honor Vidura? And he reminding me of a verse from the first canto, second chapter. And Sutta Goswami, same thing, before speaking to the Bhagavatam, to the sages assembled at Naimisharanya, thousands of sages went there to do 1,000 years sacrifice to counteract the effect of Kali. We can wonder what it would be if they didn't do their 1,000 years of sacrifice, because it's pretty bad. But it's supposed to have been way worse without their sacrifice. So Sutta Goswami was a head. He was heading. He was presiding. He was presiding this assembly of sages. And Shonakya Rishi was a speak person for all the sages, and he was asking questions to Sutta Goswami. And Sutta Goswami said, Munayo sadhu pistoham, bhavadbir loka mangala, yat krita Krishna samprasta, yen natma suprasidati. And he says something very similar. He starts speaking by saying that verse. He said, O Munis, he said, O Munis, like your questions are very special. And why they are special? Because they are speaking about Krishna. And why is it special to speak about Krishna? Because it's relevant to the welfare of human society. It's just relevant to the welfare of human society to ask this kind of question. And he said only those kind of questions are capable of completely satisfying the self. What is it? Yenatma, suprasidati. Suprasidati is satisfying. Yenatma, the Atma. Only those kind of questions are capable of completely fulfilling the self. So, of course, a person who has a question, they have to be honored. They are very special. And in fact, when anyone comes to us those questions, we want to feel the mercy of Krishna. This is so special. I'm going to honor that person who is asking about the purpose of human life. I'm going to honor that person who is asking about what is creation. What is creation? Why is there death? Why there is birth? Why there is old age? Why there is so many miseries? We want to honor. And we also want to know that asking questions is what makes us human beings. Atato Brahma Vigyasa is like the first aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra is now that we are finally that we have acquired a human birth, let us inquire. Like we are meant to inquire. We are meant to inquire constantly, asking, questioning reality. Is that real? Or is it me being under the influence of Maya, being under the influence of illusion? Constantly question things. And that's exciting life, isn't it? If life is just about things that we know, and we stay within the range of things that we know, then life becomes automatic, robotic, maybe even boring. But asking ourselves, where all that come from? Why am I having this thought right now? Why am I having this desire right now? Internally and externally, we can ask questions all day long. And by investigating what's happening, then naturally we open ourselves to receive responses. It's not like I know, I don't know. It's more like being in a spirit of discovery, discovering what the universe wants to tell us, discovering what Super Soul is saying. Super Soul, I wanted to quote a verse and it doesn't come. But the Lord is inside our heart. He's always there inside our heart. He's speaking. He's speaking and he's cleaning. He's speaking, he's cleaning, he's speaking, he's cleaning. He's doing so much. And in order for us to hear the voice of the Super Soul, we need to be in that humble state of inquiry. Tad vidi pranipastena paruspastena sevaya. To be constantly inquiring submissively. And if we inquire submissively in a spirit of humility, then go in art, Chetaguru, and go outside, and the spiritual masters, Acharya, is going to respond to our question. All of them are going to be responded. We are going to receive guidance, direct guidance about what is important for us to know now and what reality separated from illusion. So there is that verse in second or third verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, like the greatest of all is the greatest welfare of all is being able to separate illusion from reality. And what is reality? What is reality? We can look at what is reality, and anything that pertains to that body is temporary. It's just temporary. Anything that's pertains to this body, mind, intelligence, and false ego is a temporary, ephemeral reality. So what is that eternal reality? And asking those questions make us to be honored by Maitreya Rishi, by the speaker with Vidura, by Sukadev Goswami, by Sutta Goswami. So Srila Prabhupada goes on in this purport, and he said, here is, he said, Saivam Bhagavan. So Prabhupada took up that word and he said Bhagavan. And Bhagavan is the one who, Bhagavan means the one who has 6 opulences. And often Prabhupada in his class, he said, there is many Bhagavan. There is very, very Bhagavan. Someone can be very intelligent, and someone can be very wealthy, someone can be very powerful, someone can be very beautiful, very renowned, like that there is 6 opulence. And so there is many Bhagavan, but the one that have all those opulence in full is the Supreme Bhagavan. So here, Maitreya Rishi specifically is called Bhagavan because he surpassed all ordinary human being in learning and experience. So his intelligence, his knowledge is very, very superior. He was in contact with, directly in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, when Sri Krishna was leaving the planet. And so they make him very, very Bhagavan, very, very unordinary human being. And then Prabhupada goes on. Thus, his selection of the greatest welfare service for the world is considered authoritative, that he knew what will be the most beneficial for Vidura. The most beneficial for Vidura is to speak about Krishna and to speak about how to serve Krishna and to speak about the goal of serving Krishna. All those things, to speak about what's my relationship here, what as a part and parcel of Krishna, learning that that's who I am. I'm a part and parcel of Krishna. So naturally, I'm not going to be happy in this world until I realize that. Because when I realize that, I completely know where I come from and where everything else inside and out come from. Ito nishingo, bato nishingo, yato yamitato nishingo. Krishna, like Lom Nishingadev, is everywhere, is inside and outside, is so like that. So Vidura knows, and then Srila Prabhupada goes on. and that's where I want to go. The all-inclusive welfare service for the entire human society is devotional service to the Lord. The all-inclusive. Well, people will say, often they say, oh, I remember that I had a lot of conversation like that with different people in Gainesville, and I'm sure you're very familiar with that conversation, like social activists. Yeah, social activists, they say, oh, there is a conflict between spiritualists and social activists. And that conflict is there. And in Gainesville, it's a topic of conversation that I heard a lot within the people of Gainesville, that there is a conflict because social activists, they really want to do good for the world. But the spiritualists, they say they want to do good for the world, but they seem to not do anything for the world. So let's look at it. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. So eating, mating, feeling, and eating and sleeping. Okay, so that's the welfare of the social activists, making sure everybody can sleep properly and eat properly and mate properly with whatever mate they choose, whatever genders they choose, and be protected. Okay, that's the social activists. So let's look at the devotees. What do they do? Okay, what's the devotee does? He gives devotional service to the world. What does devotional service do? So there is a verse I want to go to because I just have the opportunity to. It's one of my favorite verses. There's a part of the Bhagavad-gita I really like. So I'm going to go to it. Shwastyas tu vishaya kala pashidatam dayantu bhutani shivam mitodiya manas chabadram vajata dadopsaje aveshyatam no matya apyayituki. So that verse says, may there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of him. I'm going to repeat it. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thoughts of him. So that's it. The greatest welfare, para upakara, the greatest welfare activity is devotional service. So we can take a look. Okay, so devotees and devotional service need us to be non-violent. Naturally, a devotee is non-violent. It's one of the quality of a devotee that is non-violent. A devotee is naturally tolerant, so he's going to tolerate. Like I was speaking with him the last time we went on Sankirtan downtown. That's one of the last men we met. Damayanti is here. He was a social activist. I love them. But he was open. He took a Bhagavad Gita and he gave a donation. No, he didn't take a Bhagavad Gita. He took a Beyond Birth and Death and the Perfection of Yoga, and he gave a donation. So that was really pious of him. And he's a devotee. Only a devotee would do that. And there is no doubt he's a devotee. And where he's absorbed right now in his life is social activism. And he was saying, yes, we are working with the east side of Gainesville. The east side of Gainesville, that's where there is the most crime, the most shooting, the most, teenagers that are pregnant, whatever, it's like a very, very desperate place to be. And then I was thinking, like, wow, there is a saying, like, the wealthiest man is not the one who has the most, is the one who needs the least. And most people on earth, if they need it least, if they didn't think that I'm deprived if I don't have the biggest screen TV in my house, I'm deprived if I don't have a microwave, I'm deprived. You can take the list. I can see, like, my neighbors are in that category. And it's crazy, the kind of toys they buy for their children. Their children, they have those little cars, and like the ways they live their life, and they are very deprived. It's like they need everything that Walmart had to offer. And Walmart destroying the earth for the activists that are into, like, pollution. Yeah, a devotee, he needs the least. So he's not going to when he enter Walmart, devotees say, all unnecessary necessities. So naturally, a devotee is not going to be polluting or using the resource of Mother Earth. And in fact, if there was only devotee on earth, which maybe we will read that part of the purport. There is a part of the purport here in that verse that says that even if everybody was a devotee and go back to God, then the universe will be filled again. Anyway, that's how it is. So still, we need to go on Sankirtan. Yeah, don't take it as an excuse. So yeah, so the devotee naturally, he will be caring for Mother Earth. A devotee will live simply. A devotee will, like, I know every day I cook with bulk things. A devotee has a simple living and high thinking. So on that level, activists that are for pollution, well, devotional service, it will lead more people to be clean and to respect Mother Earth and to live in harmony with Mother Earth than any of the activism is going to create. That's very simple. And also, because that's simple living, the earth is going to produce in abundance. There is no scarcity. The earth, there is no scarcity. There is only the greed of human beings that are creating scarcities, that are creating famines. There was no famine in India. No famine in India until the English came. There was no famine in India. The English came, they made a mess of creating unnecessary necessity needs for Indian, changing their needs. Like in Africa, people used to cultivate manioc and millet, and that's what they were eating. And then the conqueror, European, whatever, they came with their wheat, and they changed the diet little by little. They changed the diet of the African, and they left Africa, and then African people, they needed to import the wheat. And then they stopped cultivating the things that were natural for them to eat, and naturally created poverty and famine in many ways. So only human greed. So a devotee naturally he wants, quality of a devotee is to be generous, liberal, to give ample of prashadam. A devotee constantly wants to distribute prashadam. In fact, if we look at the biggest welfare activity, social activists in feeding the poor, we will find that those who distribute the most blood to the hungry people are devotees distributing prashadam. Because he said that no one person should go hungry within the perimeter, 30 miles, I don't exactly, there is a number, but I don't have the number.
Within a 10-mile radius of any of his centers, no one should go.
Any center, and he opens center all over the world, and he wants us to continue to open center. So 10 miles radius, not one person go hungry. Devotees are generous. They want to distribute prasadam. And plus prasadam, it's so easy. It's so inexpensive to me to cook a big pot of khichdi, in comparison to anything else that people may feel. So we are looking, okay, now protecting the whales or the elephant, whatever. Social activists protecting all that. Then a devotee is naturally vegetarian. A devotee is compassionate towards animals. A devotee sees that animals are spiritual soul having their experience in different bodies, and their bodies are their dwellings. So they are not going to come and destroy their dwelling, because they know it's important that they go through whatever evolution they are supposed to go through. So if we look at every aspect of life, the all-inclusive, Prabhupada used those words, and so beautiful, the all-inclusive welfare activity. That means it includes everything. And of course, the PARM, the supreme welfare activities, is to give Krishna consciousness to people. Because even if you give them, everything to eat, a place to sleep, protection, a mat, still they are going to die. Still they are going to go to old age. Still they are going to be deceased. So it's like Prabhupada sometimes gives the example of someone falling into the ocean, and then we grab the clothes of the drowning man. We grab their clothes and say, I saved the man. I saved the man who were drowning. Oh no, you didn't save anything. You didn't change anything. That person is going to drown. So similarly, when we try to give, everybody has TV, everybody has whatever, all that, they are still going to die. Huh? TV activists, but that's what it is. That's what it is. A lot of the activists, instead of saying like, let's support people to live a life, that simple life where they are satisfied. There is no poverty really in America. I don't believe there is poverty, but there is that thing, like I need to have so many things. And if I don't have them, then it starts a downward spiral of poverty from that, because I don't have what the neighbor has. Like my screen is smaller than my neighbor. Like when I was living in Japan, Japan is the most materialist country I lived in. Even so, there is a lot of Buddhism, so-called Buddhism. The Buddhism is also so perverted. Like I've been to Thailand, Buddhism was a way cleaner. I'm showing those, but in Japan, it's a materialism. Like it's not even Buddhism. It's like going to the shrine to make sure that my child will have the best grade at school, or that I'm going to do a good business deal. That's Buddhism, most of Buddhism in Japan. Anyhow, then why I was going to Japan, the most materialistic place, I don't remember. I had a point, but I forgot. I apologize for that. So let's read this purport. We will read and stop at the same time. So Srila Prabhupada start with Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. That's a prayer we pray every single day during the morning program. Let us offer obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desire of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned soul. So a devotee can fulfill all the desire, like a desire tree like the six Goswami are described. Every night they will sleep under different tree, and they wear loin clothes. It's just like kupin. It's like a loin clothes, and then every night they will sleep under a tree. It's also explained that they were desire tree. Desire tree give you everything you want. If you're a desire tree and you want a mango, the desire tree is going to give you mango. If a desire tree you want jewel, the desire tree can give you jewel. Kalpa vriksha. So those trees in Vrindavan, they are all kalpa vriksha. So the devotee is kalpa vriksha too. is a desire tree, and it can fulfill the desire of everyone. So there is no activist. Activists, they are so focused on their own, sort of activism. And usually what's happened, because of their focus on one side, they don't see the damage that they do, the collateral damage. Yesterday I was listening to a genius. He's really a genius. He's a professor in Belgium. He's a genius. He proves the existence of God like in such a scientific way. Anyway, he looked into the COVID issue, and he says that in fact the people who are looking for solution with COVID, lockdown and vaccination, they didn't look at any of the collateral damage of their so-called welfare activities. And it doesn't have it's not coming from like conspiracy theories that people were bad and demoniac. It's just that, okay, they were good people who wanted to go good, but they didn't look at what they were doing. They didn't look that, in fact, the collateral damage were way higher than the virus itself. People killing themselves, alcoholism increasing, the tension between people, the envy between people, the battering, how it's called, domestic violence increased, the children that they became like so damaged, like constantly in front of screen. There was so many collateral damage, and most endeavor that's aimed at finding a material solution for a material problem will have collateral damage that's most of the time more damaging than the original problem. This was just one example. Often Dear Govinda gives example of the cars, the invention of the car to prevent pollution. Like now in many countries in the world, it's so polluted. Like even now in New Delhi and Vrindavan, sometime in New Delhi there is curfew. Don't come out of your house. Toot, 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 toot. Stay in your home. The air is not breathable. If you breathe that air, you're going to get sick and die. And many people live in the streets. So I don't know where they go, but like that. And in China, same thing. There is big region in China where the air is not breathable. So collateral damage. So the devotees fulfill the desire of everyone, and there is no collateral damage because as there is every material situation, every material problem has a spiritual solution, because there is no material impediment to devotional service. No material impediment to devotional service. Nothing can ever stop us in our devotional service. And through devotional service, we are changing the world. We are making the world a better place. Like the kingdom of God is going to happen when we do devotional service, when we are envious people are going to be pacified, that verse says. Envious people are going to be pacified. How beautiful is that? Prabhupada said there is, I'm trying to do something here. Prabhupada says there is two types of envious people. There is envious people and there is a snake. And the snake can be charmed very easily and tamed, but an envious person cannot be tamed. But by give them devotional service, even envious people can be pacified. I'm going to read a little bit. This purport is amazing. By the way, this is Canto 5, chapter 18, verse 9. I encourage you all to read that verse and purport many, many times. It's it's the welfare verse and purport.
Spoken by Prahlad Maharaj.
It's spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. Yeah, it's spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. In fact, Srila Prabhupada a lot in this purport. He said that Prahlad Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. He worked for the welfare of all. And when he was asked by the greatest Kalpavriksha, God himself in the form of Lord Nrsimhadev. What do you want? And Krishna can give him everything he wants, including liberation, including go back to Godhead, which is, the ultimate goal one can aspire for, to be a pure devotee, to serve the Lord, and to go back to Godhead. So Lord Nrsimhadev could give that, and he said, don't want anything. Prahlad Maharaj said, he refused even that. He said, all I want is that everyone in the universe be saved. Everyone in the universe be saved. So that's what Prabhupada is speaking. Just like a desire tree, a Vaishnava can fulfill all the desire of everyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities, the gentle, the envious, and the mischievous. He always thought of the welfare of the mischievous person, like his father, Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj did not ask for anything for himself. Rather, he prayed for the Lord to excuse his demoniac father. This is the attitude of a Vaishnava, who always think of the welfare of the entire universe. Not simply the Wells, not simply east side of Gainesville, the entire universe. Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Dharma are made for persons who are completely free of envy. Parama Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj pray in this verse, Kala Prashidatim, may all the envious persons be pacified. The material world is full of envious persons, but if one free himself of envy, he becomes liberal in his social dealings and can think of other welfare. Anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness and engages himself completely in the service of the Lord cleanses his mind of all envy. Manas Chabadram Bhajata Datog Saji. Therefore, we should pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to sit in our hearts. Bahir Nrsingo, Hidayir Nrsingo, Nrsinga Sharanam Prapade. I added that. He said, Lord Nrsinga is inside our heart, and I surrender to Lord Nrsinga. So we can sing that all day long. Bahir Nrsingo, Hidayir Nrsingo, Nrsinga Sharanam Prapade. Let Lord Nrsingadev sit in the core of my heart, killing all my bad propensity. Let my mind become clean so that I may peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the entire world. Is that beautiful? Like we can, let my mind be pacified, bring peace, that I can bring peace to the entire world. Having that desire, that's what it takes. We can have the desire to change the world and be home chanting. And we are doing more than any social activist. And that debate is over. I continue. Srila Prabhupada continue. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving us a very fine purport in this regard. Whenever one offers a prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one always requests some benediction from him. Even pure Nishkama devotee pray for some benediction as instructed by Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shiksha. Ainandata kinkam paditamam vishame bhagambudo kripayatava pantakamtyaja sita dulisha duisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. You are the eternal servitor of Krishna. We are all eternal servitor of Krishna. Not that this body, Mary Glashin, is an eternal servant of Krishna. No, she's fallen, conditioned soul. No doubt. But me, the soul, I am an eternal servant of Krishna. And all of us here, and everyone in the entire universe is a servant of Krishna. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. We can all pray that prayer. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and bless me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. And Srila Prabhupada continued. In another prayer, Lord Chaitanya said, Mama Janmanis Dharmaniswari Bhavatat Bhaktir I to keep Swari. Life after life, kindly let me have unalloyed love and devotion to your Lord's feet, Lordship, your Lordship's Lord's feet. When Prahlad Maharaj chants Om Namo Bhagavate Narashingaya, he prayed for benediction from the Lord. But because he is also an exalted Vaishnava, he wants nothing for his personal sense gratification. The first desire he expressed in his prayer was just to Vishaya. Let there be good fortune throughout the entire universe. Prahlad Maharaj thus requested the Lord to be merciful to everyone, including his father, a most envious person. According to Chanakya Pandit, there are two kinds of envious living entities. One is a snake, and the other is a man, like Hiranyakashipu, and who is by nature envious of everyone, even of his father or son. Hiranyakashipu was envious of his little son Prahlad, but Prahlad Maharaj asked a benediction for the benefit of his father. Can you imagine his father tried to kill him, insult him, tried to throw him from a cliff, burn him, boil him, crush him, and Prahlad Maharaj, all he could think about, he took a sword to cut his head, was, please, please save my father. That's the heart of a devotee. Prahlad Maharaj asked a benediction for the benefit of his father, and Hiranyakashipu was very envious of devotees, but Prahlad wished that his father and others among like him will give up their unjust nature by the grace of the Lord and stop harassing the devotee. The difficulty is that the Kala, envious living entities, is rarely pacified. One kind of Kala, the snake, can be pacified simply by mantras or by the action of a particular herb, Motral Saudi, Vasad, Sarapa, Kala Kena, Neovaryate. An envious person, however, cannot be pacified by any means. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that all envious persons may undergo a change of heart and think of the welfare of others. Change of heart. Da, 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 da. It's a song. If the Krishna consciousness movement spread all over the world, and if by the grace of Krishna, everyone accepted, the thinking of envious person will change. So if we spread the Krishna consciousness movement, even envious people that are so difficult to change, their heart is going to change. And I can see that. I have so much envy in my heart. And really, if we are in a material world, it means we have envy. We are envious of Krishna. Conditioned soul, by definition, are all envious. But sometimes people are more envious than others, or more externally envious than others. So even that can be pacified by devotional service. So that's beautiful what Srila Prabhupada, the thinking of envious people will change if the Krishna movement spread all over the world. Everyone will think of the welfare of others. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays, Shiva Mito Diya. In material activity, everyone is envious of others, but in Krishna consciousness, no one is envious of anyone else. Everyone thinks of the welfare of others. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that everyone's mind may become gentle by being fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna. Bhajatada Doksaji, as indicated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayo. And as advised by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 1865, Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakta. One should constantly think of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then one's mind will certainly be clean. Chetodarpana marjanam. Materialists always think of sense gratification. But Prahlad Maharaj prays that the Lord's mercy will change their mind and will stop thinking of sense gratification. Imagine the whole of East Gainesville stopping to think of sense gratification. That welfare activities will be far superior than any of the activists wanting to, give more TVs around, to engage people. Srila Prabhupada once, he was in an airplane and he arrived in Chicago. And on an airplane, he read a newspaper or a magazine. It was sharing how there was so much crime in Chicago. There was a lot of crime. So he read that in an airplane. And so when he landed in Chicago, and I think there was a policeman there. The story is that there was a policeman there, and there was Lieutenant Mosey, and there was different people who interviewed Srila Prabhupada and said, yeah, I can change that. I can change the crime problem. I can change your crime problem. And there was a building, in fact, that was just on the edge of East Gainesville or East whatever, Chicago. And it was vacant. He said, give it to us. We make a temple out of it. It was vacant. It was owned by the city. He said, give it to us. Give us that building. We'll make a difference in the city. I love to do that personally, to like come. And they didn't trust him. But yeah, Srila Prabhupada, what he would have done by spreading Krishna consciousness, sending Harinam, like in South Africa many years ago, like 30, 40 years ago, there was ghettos. How it's called the ghetto in South Africa? Well, it is a shanty town, but they have a specific name in South Africa, in Johannesburg. There is a really famous ghetto like that. And the devotee, they went on Harinam every day. Every day they will go on Harinam, and every day the kids and everyone will join. It's like, carnival. And little by little, they saw the change in the people. They saw the change that the anchoring of the people were less, and they were pacified, and they were able to be contented with less. And that's, again, the richest person is not the one who has the most, it's the one who needs the least. And of course, they distributed tons of prashadams there. So some people, Prahlad Maharaj prays that the Lord's mercy will change their mind and they will stop thinking of sense gratification. If they think of Krishna always, everything will be all right. Just by thinking of Krishna, everything is all right. Some people argue that if everyone thought of Krishna in that way, the whole universe will be vacated because everyone will go back to Godhead. Some people say that sometimes. And Srila Prabhupada says, however, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this is impossible because the living entities are innumerable. If one set of living entities actually delivered by the Krishna consciousness movement, another set will fill the entire universe. If we empty a prison, people are going to commit crime and it will be filled again. Anyhow, I want to finish with verses from the Bhagavad Gita. And Yaidam paramam guyam mad bhakta vidasyati bhakti mai aum kritva mamevashyatya samshayaha. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed. So when we respond to the question, when we give the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita to the devotees, no one else but the devotees are going to receive it anyway, then devotional service is guaranteed. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is telling us. So it's true, 100% true. It's guaranteed. Like guaranteed, it's like better than any guarantees that anybody can give us. And at the end, devotional service is guaranteed. So the reward for devotional service, you know what it is? More devotional service. Yes, that's what Krishna says to the gopis. He said, you have given me everything. You have left everything. You have sacrificed everything for my sake. There is no way I can repay you. You need to be satisfied with your service. So that's how the devotee is satisfied, by having more and more services. And at the end, he will come to me. So guaranteed devotional service And it guarantees that at the end, such a devotee will come to him. Nachatasman manushyesu gachami priya krita maha bhavita nachametasman anya privata bhuvi. And Krishna continued, there is no servant in this world. There is no servant in this world. No servant in this world more dear to me. This is Sri Bhagavan Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, speaking to Arjuna, saying there is no servant more dear to me than he. Nor will there ever be one more dear. Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening. I'm going to read again the verse. Shukadev Goswami said, the great sage Maitreya Muni, after honoring Vidura very greatly, began to speak at Vidura's request for the greatest welfare of all people. Hare Krishna. Any sharing, pearls, question, comments, criticism? What's happening for you now? I'm opening it for discussion. Rohini, raise your hand. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we can do here. Very good. Okay, second here. Okay.
I like how you ended class. It was very nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Rohini.
I was just thinking about like when we remember that we're servants of like when I feel like because we all are serving, we're all serving something. So we talk about that. Prabhupada talks about that, and then it's like, but when we realize that we're always serving each other, and how are we doing that, and so I'm just thinking of an experience with this acupuncture coach that I've been working with, and I just realized when I was with her this last week that because she just was I was sharing what my process was during the week, and she really wasn't. I was not feeling understood. I wasn't feeling understood. I felt misunderstood. I was like, she's just misunderstanding me. And I was feeling a little like when I realized that was happening inside, I was like, oh no, like maybe I did the wrong thing by choosing this coach, and I had this little process, and then I was like, I realized no, actually, like she's like, this is the perfect arrangement, and we're serving each other. Like it doesn't necessarily look like, it doesn't have to look a certain way. And then I started getting so much more from the exchange. Like when I realized that actually she's serving me. She's actually serving me. And then I realized that perhaps in my sharing, like that I could be serving her, like to have a whole nother perspective. I don't know if that will happen, but it changed my experience. And I think like from the last program we had at Damayanti's, when Jacobindo was giving class, I had just a realization about service, and so I feel like I almost feel like I'm understanding that waking into Krishna consciousness. Like I feel like, oh, I'm like waking up or something. Like I'm seeing how to be not that I know how to do this yet, but I just feel like I'm having a realization about, oh, how to really be a servant of Krishna, like, and what that looks like and what that, and so I guess I had that, and I think that helped me have that realization, helped me have that experience with this woman where I was like, oh yeah, and now it's like, how can I serve this woman? Like, how can I serve her? Even though like I'm paying her to help me, but then it's like, but it arranged, Krishna arranged it so that I could serve her.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what I just wanted to share, that
Thank you.
realization.
Thank you. Appreciate you sharing, and the direction you have been is something we didn't cover in this class about service, devotional service and service, and dharma. Dharma is like a constitution, like the constitution of the soul is dharma, to serve. We are going to serve, no matter what. We are going to serve somebody. We are going to serve something. So we cannot get away from serving. And then remembering that, well, yes, it's who we are at the core. We want to serve, and at the core, our service is supposed to be directed towards the source of us and the service itself. And to serve, we are all servants of Krishna, and we have forgotten that aspect. We cannot forget that we are servants because we serve. We may not consciously know that, but we always serve. And then you're looking like, okay, like when I realize that I remember that I'm an eternal servant of Krishna, then I can look at opportunity all the time. And then that's what, my sense from hearing your sharing is that you probably already serve that coach, because maybe part of it, that the reason maybe you didn't feel understood is that maybe you were speaking from a different consciousness, a different expansion of your mind and consciousnness and intelligence that she may not have had. And just, by you, I heard more of the story from you directly. It seems that you took a stand to really clarify yourself more and more, and that it was a good process for you, that this person was serving you, asserting your truth and become clearer with your truth. And my sense, as you were doing that, I'm practically sure that your association, your consciousness, your desire, your vision of the world, your shakshusha, like we see and speak with the eyes of Shastra. If we want it or not, it's kind of become automatic. As the devotees become automatic. So it's not like we need to, rack our brain, like, what can I do? What can I say that Krishna conscious? We need to trust that, I'm, like the sponge of my mind, the sponge of my heart is already full with Krishna consciousness. And then in association with people, that they are going to benefit, and you are already serving her. Just by the fact that she's serving a devotee acupuncture, she's already making so much advancement. Just by the fact that she's there for you, she's already making tons of advancement. Just by hearing you and your consciousness and where you come from, she's making so much advancement. So we are serving all the time. And, like you can see that, it's like, there is an exchange here. She's serving me and I'm serving her, and, whatever the Lakshmi may be in the middle. I can see that, like, lately I've been meeting different people who are, healer, like, to support me. And every time I meet with them, of course I meet with Tilak and, as a devotee, but every time they say, I never thought about that. And I'm not trying to preach. I'm not trying to give them Krishna consciousness. I'm just being me. And just that is enough. And they are, wow, that's different. I like the way you say that. Or their little reflection is giving me the message that there is something expanding in them, just by the fact that Srila Prabhupada's process works. You know, the more we absorb ourselves, the more, like, in a sense, the sponge is absorbing and regurgitating, yes, like that, and it's automatic. So you know, the presence of the devotee, like the postman. In Alachua, there's a postman Len is like 65, 68, I mean 70, I don't know, he's kind of old. He has been there for a long time. But in his postman job, he has served so many devotees. Like I know every time I go to him, practically lately, it's always to sound Bhagavad Gita, like sheep Bhagavad Gita. So he takes the Bhagavad Gita in his hand and he put the postage on it. And he's in service for the Bhagavad Gita to be sung away. And that person, you know, is receiving so much mercy. And very easily he say Hare Krishna. It's so easy for him to say Hare Krishna because his heart has been purified enough that he can say Hare Krishna. Will it change around in his life? I don't know. But definitely he has done a lot of devotional service in his life and he's continuing to do devotional service every day. So many devotees go to him. He helps them in so many ways. Yeah, so we are serving, you know, just by practicing devotional service, we are serving the world. Directly and indirectly, so much Agyata Sukriti, we engage people in so much Agyata Sukriti. And, you know, even the people who put the vegetable out in the grocery store, in a sense, if we buy the vegetable to cook for Krishna, or the people who are involved in that process, and imagine they have some Agyata Sukriti, some drop of devotional service credit. So our existence, and the number, as we increase the number of disciples, Srila Prabhupada said, increase the number of disciples is order. And Paraupakara, Lord Chaitanya give us that order to be a guru, because we will do the greatest welfare of all. And so just our existence, just even if we are fallen, even if we are unjust devotee, even if we don't practice well, even like all our shortcomings and all that, we have given our life to Srila Prabhupada in some way or another. And us being walking the land, walking this earth is making a difference. Yeah.
Right. It's not all. I mean, first, just emotional surface. When we are sadhana, we chant our rounds, we then read, reading, and then we consciousness become more purified, we have more in our, you know, then yeah, it's I really appreciate it, because then it's not like, oh, what can I do when I'm with this person to help them be more Krishna conscious, or oh, I'm scared because how am I, but it's no, just show up and be a devotee,
a servant of Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you, Rohini, for your comments, sharing your experience, and Damien Tikogu.
Thank you for the class. I was really moved and touched by everything you shared, and I'm emotional. I just feel like I feel like a sense of like peace. Just for whatever reason, I just carry this voice that I've shared with you this week about it to you personally, that I have this voice in my consciousness, in my mind, and that and it's like always speaking and just really becoming aware of it. Like, I mean, I've heard it, but like never really, I don't know, it's like time to, you know, change really this voice saying I'm such a failure, and it's just almost constant. You know, for whatever reason, like I can look back at childhood or, you know, probably the past, like whatever, like something that gave me this, you know, a choice I made, you know,
Mhm.
how I filtered experiences. I got this voice like, I'm such a failure. And it's just going like almost all the time. And well, this week I'm getting in touch with like how painful that is. And there's other voices. It is not just this one voice, and that's true, and it's the one voice, and it's the truth. It's the truth about me. So I'm like kind of getting some distance from it, but still, it's just very, very strong. Anyway, during the class, was meditating on what was the purpose of the experience. I feel like I had one like strong memory that is in my mind associated with I'm a failure from childhood. What was the purpose of it? And I mean, I can, from a spiritual perspective, like how come I co-created that experience and carried this failure for voice. Anyway, I don't think I'll go into every little thing because I just have a kind of lot going on. But at one point in the class, I thought, oh, maybe my life has been a total success. Like I don't have to wonder, am I about to be a failure? What if I don't? But before I leave this lifetime, like what if I don't hit the mark or whatever? Anyway, I just had this moment of like peace, like it's already been a success. And like fight and strive and worry about if I'm failing, if I'm about to fail, if I'll continue to succeed or failure's around the corner, like whatever, like I'm always like judging. I just had this thought like I'm worried about the practice Bhakti yoga. And I care, I really care. Like that verse in Bhagavad Gita about being dear to Krishna. I really do care to share what I've been given. Bhakti yoga and devotional service. And I mean, yeah, it's like first it's filled with flaws and mistakes, but I might not be a failure yet. Like I'm always equating all my flaws and mistakes with failure, and it's just like overwhelming me. There's so many flaws and mistakes, but it doesn't mean that I am a failure. And taking off the pressure, am I or am I not? Like the life overall, I can see the lifetime may have been a total success if I've made it to, on the path to get to be in full, to be like fully, anyway, I'm just had a new perspective in class, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing, Malini Prabhu. I hear that you're feeling peaceful, allowing yourself a different perspective over your life, understanding that, okay, there was a program running, like self-defeating recording, that you don't need to identify with that. It's about stopping the identification. You don't need to resonate, vibrate, or identified with that anymore. And you can identify like, yeah. I remember Mother Janova, when we were speaking about book distribution, and she was saying, all she said to people is like, read this book, it will make your life a success. And the assumption that people will make, oh, I will make money, or I will get my degrees, or I will get a big car, or whatever success means for them. She will say, read this book, it will make your life a success.
Is it true?
Most of China never said that,
No,
yeah.
I mean, is what she said true?
Of course it's true. It's true, absolutely true, 100% true. By receiving the books, their life is successful. And that's beautiful. And when you distribute books, and amazingly, you go on book distribution, you know how many devotees go on book distribution. And so you're very adamant that we are going. You're taking me out. You're just dragging me out in the streets to go on book distribution. And yeah, every time someone takes a book, I know their life is successful. You know, that they are going to make their life successful. So during the class, hearing like you're open to a different paradigm. And ultimately, success and failure is a material construct. Like there is no success and failure. It's like material construct of duality. It's like, I like tune healing. I know you know tune healing. So, and then tune healing like ways of approaching everything. Good, better, and best. It's never bad. It's just good. I receive a book that's good. I distribute one book that's good. And whatever, it's always good. And the devotional service, the consumption is absolute. What that verse? You know which verse is it?
Chapter 4 Bhagavad Gita.
All right. No, it's okay. Yes, if I can find it quickly. But I like that verse very much. Like he said, it's absolute. Consuming any part of spiritual life, reading, chanting, serving, speaking,
Towards the end of the chapter.
serving, it's absolute. And that's so nice to remember that. It's not, it's kind of letting go of a goal, or like defining success to allow like every day to be fully successful. Yeah, every day being successful. I'm successful when I completed chanting 16 rounds, at least. I'm successful when I read some of Srila Prabhupada's books. I'm successful when I listen to a class of Srila Prabhupada. I'm successful when I speak to someone about Krishna. I'm successful when I distribute a lollipop. That's so easy to do. Yeah.
We're successful when we participate in Bhagavatam.
We're successful when we participate in Bhagavatam class. When we chant Kirtan, we are successful. There's so many. I don't find it, but basically that verse he said the consummation.
Combination?
No,
Consummation?
consume. Like when you consume, like consumer.
Kind of sophisticated English in the verse. So even first language English speaker, it's the consummation is absolute.
Is absolute. The consummation is absolute. Like devotional service is absolute. Whatever I do is for my eternal benefit. Whatever little I do is for my eternal benefit.
For everyone's eternal benefit, including those in these schemes.
Including those and in his Canville, it's not simply for my benefit, but anything I do is for the world's benefit, the entire universe benefit.
And the Earth,
the planet
for
Earth, for ecology, for everything. So yeah, so you can see like you're more aware, like, okay, this is conditioning. This conditioning, like even to look at the root of the childhood, yeah, it's good. But at the same time, okay, that's the way my process is in this lifetime. Like that, I have a body that I have a tendency to say I'm a failure. I'm going to stop identifying with that. Yeah. Latini Shakti, Prabhu, you have your hand raised.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I know it's late, but I have just a quick adding to that, because like you were reading how Prahlad Maharaj is in this mood, like I don't want anything for myself. So recently I was listening to a class from Srila Prabhupada, and he was making the distinction between Kanishta Adhikari and Madhyama Adhikari. And that time how he put it was the Kanishta Adhikari is the one who is thinking only of his own progress. And the Madhyama Adhikari is the one who thinks also of the progress of others. And Srila Prabhupada says, and everyone has to come at least to the place of the Madhyama Adhikari. So even though it's true that by chanting Hare Krishna, we are benefiting everyone, if it's our consciousness or not, still even for our own progress, we need to come to that platform.
So in order to come to the Madhyama Adhikari platform, I need to think of my own progress in a way Kanishta does, thinking I want to be a Madhyama. That's what you're saying.
No, I
get it.
I mean, okay, even if I'm thinking just of myself, I have to come to the platform of thinking of others.
To make advancement. And the advancement is going to manifest by how much I think of others. Yeah.
I definitely would not tell to Krishna if he gives me one wish to be fulfilled. There would be no one in that wish.
Nowhere around that. We can all think of that. It's a two-time, like at the Krishna book reading. Oh no, it was Nectar of Devotion. Someone shared like, oh, what would I do if Krishna was knocking on my door? And then you're saying, okay, if Krishna come and ask you, okay, I can give you everything you want. What do you want?
But only one thing.
Only one thing. That wouldn't be it. Like, oh, I want the welfare of the entire universe. I want everybody in the universe to practice Bhakti Yoga in order to be peaceful and all the obvious people pacified. That wouldn't be it.
I think I would be quite happy if in that situation I would think of something spiritual.
I see. Thank you. Thank you, Ladini Shakti Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Grant Torah Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go.